Welcome to a new Media Planet podcast. In this episode, we explore permitting as a critical system challenge and how organizations can accelerate grid connections through stronger coordination, the right talent, and digital innovation. I'm joined today by Ralf Blumenthal from Siemens and Paolo Manià, Head of Operations at Acegas. Hi both. Can you start with briefly introducing yourselves? I'm going to start with you, Paolo.
Thank you. I'm in charge of operation and maintenance in AcegasApsAmga. This is a medium-sized DSO. We serve as a DSO the towns of Trieste and Gorizia in northeast of Italy. We belong to a group whose name is HERA, and within this group there are also another DSO that serve the town of Modena and Imola in Emilia-Romagna. We have more or less 160,000 customers. In these two cities I have mentioned, Trieste has a distinctive feature because there is one of the largest port in Italy. We received recently a new request for connection for about 160 megawatts in a town in which the peak of consumption is more or less today 120 megawatts. So that's relevant and is pushing us to be innovative and to find out innovative solutions.
Okay, interesting. Ralf?
I'm happy to lead a Siemens business unit for Europe focused on grid software. That's how we're called and that's what we do. We provide our customers, which are utilities in the distribution and transmission systems, with software and services for them to expand grid capacity, modernize grids, but also to keep their customers more satisfied.
Okay. Let's dive deeper into the permitting team. Let's start off with reframing permitting. In general, permitting is often framed as an administrative bottleneck, but in reality it seems to be a much broader system challenge, combining grid capacity analysis, planning, stakeholder coordination, and internal resource management. From your both perspectives, what is the most underestimated complexity in today's permitting?
From our point of view, there are many technical aspects involved in your question. First of all, the importance of the grid capacity analysis. We are performing it. Secondly, the grid planning activity that must take into account that permitting is sometimes very long. It could require months and sometimes years. And also the technical supplies could require months and sometimes years. And so the grid planning must work in advance. In order to do so and to be effective, it must go hand in hand with another activity, the stakeholder engagement. And this is a very important point. Sometimes a good grid planning is not enough, and we have to introduce some innovative solution, such as, for example, the flexibility market. To go back to your question, I would say that the most underestimated factor probably is not a technical factor, but is the human factor.
Yeah, okay. We dive deeper into that team immediately. Ralf, do you want to add something more on the?
Yeah, I agree that permitting is always this big word that's easily used, as you say, in an administrative context. But in my view, it's a symptom of, in many cases, missing transparency and the right insights afterwards, which also touches upon that human factor, but comes from let's say, a technical point of view, that grids in many cases are black boxes, right? And to a certain degree, and that doesn't help taking right decisions and creates then the need to go into assumptions that are often very conservative and take a long time then to be implemented. And that then has effects on regulation, on the utilities, on the planning, on all aspects of grid expansion.
Yeah. So you both touched upon the human factor already, and it's striking that many of the challenges around permitting are, as you said, not only purely technical, but human, involving coordination across institutions, stakeholders, and multidisciplinary teams. How do you build organizations that are equipped for this level of complexity, and what role do skills, talent, and ecosystem partnerships play in accelerating connection processes?
There are many aspects involved in your question. First of all, we used to rely on electrical engineer. Our electrical engineer and our technicians are facing new challenges because we are in different scenarios, and they need continually to receive and improve their knowledge. But recently we started to recruit also engineers and technicians with a different background. And this this is very powerful for our team, and we are experiencing some very good results. But that is not enough. We are trying to construct teams with our customer, with public entities, with suppliers like, for example, Siemens, and also with the university to find out and test new and innovative solutions. We call this team ecosystem or innovation ecosystems. And for us, this is a very important matter.
Okay. So Ralf, what's your view on this?
Such ecosystem approaches are super important, but they require that you have the right insights and that you have the right tools that give you the insights that you need, right? So coming back from your original question around permitting and the challenge around the people challenge around, the building block in between is technology and software.
Yes.
And I think it's when you give the right tools to the people, which, for example, giving shared views across planning teams, operation teams, customer service teams, you change the way how they think and how they can work, how decisions are taken. And so the skill set that you need in the utility of the future builds on a strong electrical engineering basis, but also takes now even more into account IT skills, data-driven engineering skills, system thinking skills, to make a transformation from a historical role of a DSO, actually a distribution network operator, to a distribution system operator. And that is a fundamental shift, which is enabled by technology and needs the right skill set to adapt. So approaches like you just outlined of bringing together academia, distribution companies, and tech suppliers is actually a very strong way to go, because we can make sure that technology is adopted and, of course, developed in the right way, and skill sets are built at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to the role of digital and AI also in this whole story. Looking ahead, technologies like AI could fundamentally reshape how DSOs handle connection requests, from grid scenario modeling to faster and more robust technical assessments. Where do you both see the biggest immediate opportunity for digitalization or AI to accelerate permitting, and then particularly in leveraging historical data and forecast enriched with domain know-how, and what still needs to change before this can be deployed at scale?
Okay. As an introduction, I would say that at present we are testing a new system that allows us to calculate all the parameters of our grids without measuring. This is the basic idea of the digital twin. And we are testing this, and the vast majority of the supply is from Siemens. If I look ahead, I can see that all the data on which we are working are good but not perfect. There is a lot of uncertainty about this data. So the first application we are thinking of is to clean up the historical data on which we are going to work. Second thing, when we analyze the possibility to connect a new customer, we have to rely on good data, and AI could greatly help in order to clean up this data. But we have also to think of the future, to imagine a scenario or a series of scenarios in the future in order to understand if this customer and other customer could be hosted in our grid. And this is the second application we are thinking about. And reconnecting to the previous question, I would say that the fundamental tool in order to realize this project is to constitute an ecosystem, an innovative ecosystems in order to realize such idea with technical supplier and also universities and also customers.
Okay.
Mhm. AI is definitely a key factor now and even more so looking forward. We see that it helps to accelerate grid decisions where there is proper transparency and where you can trust the data. You mentioned it, right? So when you have reliable databases, AI definitely accelerates. And that is super important because you use it for feasibility analyses, you can use it for faster scenario comparisons, for congestion anticipations, and ultimately for faster connection of requests that want to be integrated, households, industries. And as such is super important also to then ensure economic competitiveness of a region that this also applies to. So it's that's one aspect. The other aspect is around decision support. And when we talk about skill and the change of required skill within a distribution system operator, with AI, we see that there is a whole new level of support that can be given to engineers. And it's not to replace them, it's to give them time back, right? To focus on the actual tasks of then performing the technically relevant tasks. And basically removing time between question and answer, right? By scanning through multiple databases which are not cleansed, of looking at very hard to read outputs of some simulation engine that was running in the background. So AI is really a helping as a support to engineers. We see that playing in at the moment. What we shouldn't forget to also enable better adoption of AI technologies is that AI technologies run on bigger clusters, on data centers, etc. So usually also from a commercial model, run in an OpEx point of view, which is something that we must also include moving forward in the discussions around adding such technology, which is a bit intangible for traditional regulations, to add that as critical infrastructure and also incentivize it accordingly.
So how would you both summarize everything we spoke about in this episode?
So we underlined the importance of the interdisciplinary approach. We underline the importance of the so-called innovative ecosystem. And one possible demonstration of these approaches is the digital twin that we are testing these days with Siemens and is going to enable the flexibility market in our territories.
Digital technology plays a huge role in getting visibility into the grid, into enabling flexibility mechanisms, and into building out capacity quicker. And as such, it triggers a change in the skill set that is needed on a system operator side, which can be overcome by collaboration between utilities and tech suppliers like ourselves. And that triggers not only the development of skills, but also of the roadmaps of the products that we're shaping.
Okay. Thank you both for the interesting insights.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.